Wang Lin's physical body subtly contracted his pupils, a motion so slight it could scarcely be detected. He stepped forward, his entire being seamlessly merging with the heavens and earth without any hesitation or obstruction. He did not dissipate but instead, in this state, raised his right hand, formed a hand gesture, and pointed at the sky. He shouted, "Immolation of Immortal's flame." In an instant, a red flame appeared silently in the air, spreading across the sky and descending rapidly. This fire materialized out of nowhere, carrying an overwhelming, terrifying aura. As soon as it appeared, it occupied a vast portion of the sky, its crimson glow spreading out, making the surrounding cultivators hastily retreat, fearing to be caught in its wake. The fire was so intense it seemed capable of refining the very heavens and earth. Even a single spark from it would send chills down the spine of any nearby cultivator. The immense primordial energy spread out, causing Wang Lin's figure to flicker between light and dark in the flames. Yet, no one dared to avert their gaze. Wang Lin's right hand rose and pressed downward, his voice low as he murmured, "Flame." Immediately, the fire surrounding the middle-aged man erupted, expanding rapidly, as if doused in boiling oil. The flames surged toward the center, where the middle-aged man stood, and in that instant, they transformed into countless fiery dragons, roaring and charging toward him with waves of scorching heat. The middle-aged man's expression turned serious, his eyes flashing with cold light. He loosened his grip on the long spear in his right hand, and the weapon shattered into countless fragments, surrounding him. At the same time, the middle-aged man's right index finger pressed against his right eye, causing a surge of red light to flare within it. I didn't expect that a chi refiner from the younger generation could reach this level. Impressive. You have earned the right for me to unleash my extreme realm, he said, his right eye flashing red. In the next moment, a streak of crimson lightning shot out from his eye, accompanied by a terrifying chill that rushed directly toward Wang Lin. Under the influence of this icy force, the flames that had gathered before it seemed to be extinguished, leaving behind a long trail of destruction as they rushed toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's physical form grew more serious, his hands forming another hand gesture. He pointed forward, shouting, "Blaze." With a series of explosions, the flames surrounding the middle-aged man soared into the air and quickly coalesced into a massive fireball, with the middle-aged man trapped inside. As soon as the fireball formed, it began to contract, as if attempting to burn everything inside it to ash. The flames consumed not only all tangible things but also the very void, causing it to collapse under their intensity. No existence could escape the fire. Only the extreme realm, in the blink of an eye, broke free from the fireball and rushed toward Wang Lin. In that split second, as the fireball contracted, the red lightning formed by the extreme realm struck Wang Lin's physical body. A destructive force exploded, and Wang Lin clearly saw the Elder's essence spirit immediately shatter under the impact of the extreme realm. But it quickly reformed, only to shatter again. Within mere moments, the Elder's essence spirit experienced countless cycles of collapse and reconstruction. With each reformation, it grew weaker. Though it only lasted for a few breaths, to Wang Lin, it felt like an eternity. His own essence spirit began circulating, and as the Elder's essence spirit condensed once again, Wang Lin wasted no time in offering assistance. He had no choice but to help, for if the Elder's essence spirit collapsed completely or could not resist the attack, the Elder could easily escape. And once that happened, only Wang Lin's essence spirit would remain. He had no confidence in confronting the extreme realm alone. After all, the extreme realm had once emerged from a seal. Though powerful, it had been weak, like a rootless tree. But the extreme realm now was entirely different. At the moment Wang Lin's essence spirit intervened, he instantly felt the terrifying power of the extreme realm. His essence spirit trembled as his primordial energy surged out like layers of paper, while the extreme realm acted like a sharp sword, piercing through. Fortunately, after this brief moment of relief, the Elder's essence spirit acted swiftly, and just as the sword of the extreme realm pierced Wang Lin's essence spirit, it sealed the force, devouring it and continually locking it in place with primordial energy. All of this felt exceedingly slow to Wang Lin, though in reality, it was over in the blink of an eye. Even the surrounding cultivators did not notice the subtleties of the situation. That was close. No wonder Immortal Lord Qixue is so formidable. The extreme realm truly is terrifying. It's a good thing I didn't miscalculate. I didn't expect Immortal Lord Qixue, after being sealed for so many years, to still possess such strength. The mysterious Elder's exhausted voice echoed in Wang Lin's mind. At this moment, the fireball contracted violently and in an instant shrank to a size of about 10 feet. Then, it exploded, causing the power contained within it to erupt explosively. For a brief moment, it seemed as though the entire world was engulfed in flames. Even from a great distance, the light from the fire illuminated the heavens and earth. The light spread far and wide, and Wang Lin stood within it, his figure exuding an imposing aura. Xun'er's eyes gleamed with excitement as he watched Wang Lin's figure, thinking to himself, "This is the true power of the Lord." My earlier guess was correct. Xun'er stood in the void, feeling the oppressive heat of the distant flames despite their great distance. He could still sense the scorching wave rushing toward him. At this moment, he was filled with excitement as he gazed at Wang Lin amidst the flames. The same thoughts he once shared with Xun'er resurfaced in his mind. Senior's cultivation is unfathomable. Clearly, he was suppressing his power at the level of Yang fulfillment before, but now, it's increased by countless times. And I'm certain that this isn't even his full strength. As for Tang Yifeng beside him, his previously gloomy face had turned a terrifying pale. When he had witnessed Wang Lin battling the white-haired stranger, his heart had been violently shaken. He never imagined that Wang Lin possessed so many divine abilities. Though shocked, he could barely accept this fact in his heart. But now, as he saw the flames before him, he almost gasped in disbelief. The shock in his mind completely shattered, replaced by fear and astonishment. Who is this person? Tang Yifeng murmured. Xun'er sneered, glanced at Tang Yifeng, and said indifferently, "Do you remember, Daoist Tang, when you mocked me outside the Thunder Immortal Realm Gate? The one you see before you is the one who made me, Xun'er, willingly be blamed by my family and isolated by the Thunder Immortal Palace. This is our sovereign." Tang Yifeng stood frozen, staring at the figure in the flames. For a long while, he couldn't utter a single word. At this moment, a deep voice echoed. "To survive in the extreme realm, you are strong." In the firelight, a statue appeared. It soon shattered, and from within, a young man stepped out. This young man was extremely handsome, yet a sinister aura surrounded him. From the elder to the middle-aged man, and now to this youth, this strange transformation sent chills down the spines of all the surrounding cultivators. Wang Lin's physical body showed a grave expression, staring at the young man who had emerged. After his appearance, the young man placed his right hand on the shattered statue beside him, and immediately, the broken pieces of the statue melted, swiftly transforming back into a long spear, which the young man gripped in his hand. The young man looked at Wang Lin, a dark smile curling at the corner of his mouth. With a sudden movement, his figure merged with the heavens and earth, disappearing without a trace in an instant. The next moment, the young man appeared behind an deficiency cultivator in the distance. The deficiency cultivator's face changed drastically as his body instantly teleported away. Not just him, every cultivator in the vicinity immediately avoided him. The young man's smile grew colder, and with a thrust of the spear toward the void, ripples appeared. The deficiency cultivator was forcibly pulled from the void, his pale face showing signs of panic. Just as he tried to flee, his body trembled and exploded into a mist of blood and flesh, his essence spirit being forcefully sucked away. In the blink of an eye, it was consumed by the young man. Not even skin or bones remained. The entire process was completed in the blink of an eye. The young man's figure flickered again, and he moved through the surrounding cultivators with ghostly speed. Each time he appeared, another cultivator fell. The mysterious elder controlling Wang Lin's body let out a cold snort, transforming into lightning as he surged forward. At the same time, he formed a hand seal and pointed to the sky, shouting, "Condense." Immediately, purple light appeared from the void, rapidly gathering in Wang Lin's right hand. In an instant, a purple orb emerged, glowing intensely with purple radiance and surrounded by thin mist, appearing incredibly dazzling. "Disperse." A hoarse command came from Wang Lin's mouth. The moment the purple orb shook, it collapsed, transforming into a ring-shaped wave that surged outwards like a crashing wave. This wave contained the force of heaven and earth. As it spread, every cultivator, regardless of their cultivation level, immediately felt a great force crash against their bodies. The impact was so strong that every cultivator was sent flying backwards at incredible speed. Even Xun'er, Zhang, and the others were no exception. In the blink of an eye, within a 10-mile radius, a void appeared, leaving only Wang Lin and the young man standing. The young man licked his lips, his face slightly flushed. Though the time was short, he had consumed no less than 20 cultivators. His eyes flashed as he suddenly turned and darted towards the cultivators trying to escape in the distance. Wang Lin clearly heard the elder's essence spirit curse from within his body. With a flicker, the elder chased after him, shouting, "To think that the mighty immortal monarch Qishui would resort to devouring younger cultivators to restore his power. If you truly have the ability, come fight me now, so you don't embarrass yourself." The young man paused, turning around, his eyes flashing with murderous intent as he spoke slowly. "I am no Qishui." "Bullshit. You are Qishui. Qishui. Qishui." The elder's voice echoed from Wang Lin's body. The young man's eyes filled with killing intent in an instant, and with a cold snort, he turned and charged again toward the fleeing cultivators. Back then, the crown prince of Qishui Kingdom, today he can't even remember his own name. How pitiful. Wang Lin, in the body of the elder, sighed deeply. Yet he realized the young man was completely unfazed. In the blink of an eye, the young man vanished and reappeared in the distance, continuing to devour cultivators. Wang Lin could clearly see that the essence spirit of the elder within his body showed a look of indignation. With a single step, the elder's body merged with the world, appearing beside a cultivator on the path to transcending. "If you want to devour, I will drive you away." As Wang Lin's body emerged, the cultivator beside him widened his eyes in terror. Wang Lin kicked out, landing a blow on the cultivator. A powerful force surged, and the cultivator trembled, being kicked into the air. As he flew, his body merged with the heavens and earth, instantly vanishing without a trace. Wang Lin didn't pause. Almost the moment he sent that cultivator flying, his figure disappeared and appeared beside the next cultivator, delivering another swift kick. Thus, Wang Lin and the young man abandoned their dual techniques, each opting for speed, one driving away, the other devouring. It was a race of speed. As Shin Gonghu fled, his body instantly shifted out, but his teleportation was abruptly interrupted. His body was forcibly pushed out of the void. At the same time, the sinister young man appeared beside him, grabbing with his right hand, aiming directly for his Tianling, heavenly spirit. A cold light flashed across Shin Gonghu's face. Proud by nature, he immediately formed seals with his hands. At once, a thunderous bolt appeared in his palm. This bolt was dark red in color. As soon as it appeared, it caused ripples in the surrounding void, as if countless thin threads of lightning were gathering from all directions. This lightning was the peak of Shin Gonghu's power, the result of years of refining after receiving guidance from Wang Lin. It was the very essence of thunder he had been cultivating, the most secret and important power within him. For years, he had been refining this thunder, aiming to trace its origin. This was his greatest secret, and he revered Wang Lin, believing that his teachings had been invaluable. He had faith that, with time, he could fully trace the source of this thunder. But now, in this life and death moment, he had no time to think. He unleashed the bolt of thunder. Even the sinister young man seemed momentarily taken aback upon seeing this lightning, but his cold, eerie gaze did not waver. Without hesitation, he grabbed out with his hand. Shin Gonghu yelled, and the thunderbolt was hurled. Upon release, it emitted a dense, dark red glow. In an instant, it exploded. The young man scoffed coldly and, with a simple gesture, crushed the bolt of lightning, shattering it. Seizing this opportunity, Shin Gonghu quickly retreated, but at that very moment, far off in the distance, Wang Lin saw him. Though his body was beyond control, his essence spirit could still communicate with the mysterious elder. "Save him." Wang Lin's essence spirit sent out a mental command. The elder's essence spirit snorted lightly but did not refuse. After kicking away the nearby cultivator, he disappeared into the void, reappearing beside Shin Gonghu. He formed a seal with his right hand, meeting the sinister young man in midair. A thunderous explosion echoed as the young man staggered back several steps. Wang Lin too retreated, but while stepping back, his right foot struck out, kicking Shin Gonghu away. In the midst of Shin Gonghu's excitement and fervor, his body was sent flying, merging with the heavens and earth, vanishing into nothingness. The sinister young man gave Wang Lin a chilling glance before his body flickered and instantly split into several clones. These clones then split further, and in the blink of an eye, 32 of his previous clones, which had been destroyed during their earlier battle, reappeared. The clones immediately scattered, each rushing with incredible speed towards the fleeing cultivators. Wang Lin could distinctly feel the elder's essence spirit hesitate. With a furious roar, the elder commanded Wang Lin's body to fly upward, stretching out his arms. A vast surge of primordial energy erupted from his body, scattering into the world. As the energy fused with the surroundings, it seemed to replace the very fabric of reality itself. It was as if, at that moment, Wang Lin had become one with the world. His eyes gleamed with a strange light as he muttered, "Immortal art, dissolve." In an instant, a dense aura of primordial energy surrounded the fleeing cultivators, binding their bodies. Immortal art, disperse. Wang Lin's voice once again echoed. In the blink of an eye, all the fleeing cultivators were trapped, their bodies forcibly drawn into the very fabric of the world, as though invisible hands were manipulating them. At this moment, if one were to look down from above, they would clearly see the figures of the cultivators quickly vanish. Almost in the blink of an eye, there was no longer a single cultivator in sight. Only the young man and his 32 avatars remained. Wang Lin could distinctly feel that the old man's essence spirit within his body was extremely weak, as if it could dissipate at any moment, already at the point of exhaustion, like a dying flame. Damn it, I've lost this time. A red glow appeared in the young man's eyes, and with each step, he charged straight toward Wang Lin. Since you're seeking death, I'll grant your wish. As the young man approached, he immediately threw his spear forward. It flashed, turning into a black beam that shot toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's scalp tingled. The old man's essence spirit inside him barely controlled his body, forcing him to escape. The sinister young man followed closely behind, constantly closing the distance. The mysterious old man controlling Wang Lin's body melted into the surrounding world as he fled, disappearing in a flash. However, the sinister young man also melted into the world, using his senses to relentlessly pursue. The two moved at an astonishing speed, almost instantaneously crossing countless fragmented lands. Gradually, a cold smile appeared on the young man's face as he spoke slowly. From the moment you appeared, I knew your goal was to lead me to your true body. Fine, I'll follow you. Devouring your true body will surely restore my cultivation far more than any chi refiner here. In Wang Lin's view, this divine ability was very similar to the technique that extracted the spirit of all things, yet with subtle differences, undoubtedly more profound. But the changes in this divine ability far surpassed Wang Lin's current cultivation. Though he could feel it, there was always a layer of separation he could not penetrate. At this moment, as the old man controlled his body to move at incredible speed, Wang Lin had no time to contemplate the nature of the divine ability. He could clearly sense that the old man's essence spirit was rapidly dissipating within him. This dissipation was happening at an alarming rate. In just the time it takes for half a stick of incense to burn, the old man's essence spirit had already dispersed by more than half. The old man was clearly sacrificing his essence spirit to gain greater speed. Wang Lin could no longer tell how fast they were going. He felt as though he had merged with the world itself. In a blink, everything around him seemed to stretch endlessly. He no longer seemed to be walking through empty space, but rather treading on the passage of time itself. This was entirely an illusion, yet at that moment, Wang Lin couldn't find another way to explain the change in speed. Wang Lin had already begun to grasp the threshold of the shrinking earth technique, a divine ability unique to second-step cultivators. Though he couldn't perform it as the old man did, melding into the world with every step, as if it were second nature, he could still occasionally invoke it with preparation. If it had been another cultivator, even if they had reached the Yang fulfillment stage, without an understanding of the shrinking earth technique and how to merge with the world, their essence spirit would have been unable to bear the sudden, intense changes in their body. The results would range from severe injury to instant essence spirit collapse. Even Wang Lin, who had touched the threshold of this divine ability, still found his essence spirit struggling to endure this state of continuous motion. His body, controlled by the old man's essence spirit, was almost entirely merged with the world, as if every part of him, including his essence spirit, had been broken down into countless particles, becoming part of the very fabric of the world. Wherever the world extended, any place could be reached in an instant. But clearly, this divine ability still had limitations. Otherwise, the old man could simply have merged and directly reached his true body, without the need for this frantic speed. For Wang Lin, the half-stick of incense felt like 100 years had passed. This 100 years turned into a storm, so fierce that it was as though he were a leaf without roots, spinning helplessly in the wind, struggling not to be torn apart. This state was extremely painful, but for Wang Lin, it offered unimaginable benefits. His essence spirit, constantly struggling in the storm, grew more deeply integrated with the world. By the end, this sensation was etched so deeply into his heart and mind that he could never dispel it in this lifetime. If any other cultivators were to witness Wang Lin's current state, some would likely be moved. The second step of cultivation, aside from primordial energy, emphasizes merging with and mastering the laws of heaven and earth. However, this process is too abstract to explain clearly, making merging with the world the natural path to understanding the rules. Only by merging more closely with the world could one be qualified to explore the powers of these rules. Undoubtedly, at this moment, Wang Lin's essence spirit, with the unintentional help of the mysterious old man, seemed to be held by an invisible hand, forcibly merging him with the world. Painful though it may be, the benefits are undeniable. His essence spirit was increasingly merging with the world, as though he had always belonged to it, inseparable and one with it. In this state, Wang Lin's conceptual realm seemed to stir, gradually aligning with the great Tao of cause and effect that intertwined his essence spirit with the heavens and earth. Aside from his essence spirit, his physical body also gained benefits. After undergoing a series of cleansing, his body had already fused seamlessly with primordial energy. Now, under the mysterious elder's control, this prolonged merging with the world caused his body and essence spirit to fuse infinitely, just like his essence spirit. This was not the key point, however. The crucial part was that during this integration with the world, the so-called dissipation actually meant that his body was in a state of collapse, but without death. Only in this state could his body reassemble wherever the force of the world reached. Prolonged exposure to this state allowed his body to naturally absorb the power of the heavens and earth, as if every muscle and every drop of blood within him contained the force of the world. Of course, none of this was intentional on the part of the mysterious elder. If Wang Lin had not already met certain conditions, when the elder left the world and returned to his true form, Wang Lin's body would have collapsed immediately, and his essence spirit would have perished on the spot. Wang Lin and the sinister young man, both in a state of merging with the world, sped ahead. After a brief moment, high above a fragment continent in the northern part of the Thunder Immortal realm, Wang Lin's figure flickered and emerged. The moment his body appeared, the elder's essence spirit within him completely dissipated, vanishing from his body. In almost an instant, Wang Lin regained control of his body. A familiar feeling surged through him as he took control once again. Without hesitation, he activated his primordial energy. It spread out along his body, forming a vortex of energy that exploded with force in an instant. With a tremendous boom, his body surged forward, propelled by the shockwave of the energy vortex. As his figure shot out, the sinister young man took a step forward. His right hand was slightly hindered by the shockwave of the vortex, but he grasped at empty air where Wang Lin had been. Without pausing, Wang Lin immediately turned into a streak of light, speeding away into the distance. At the same time, he slapped his storage pouch, summoning his immortal sword into his hand. Without hesitation, he unleashed 8 consecutive severing luo techniques in every direction around him. With a series of crackling sounds, the sky above him shattered into large rifts, and an invisible force of imprisonment was immediately torn apart by Wang Lin's severing luo techniques. His expression darkened. His speed increased, and he shot forward. Having learned from his past mistake, he would not allow himself to be trapped again. The sinister young man's eyes flashed coldly as he glanced at the fragment continent beneath him, furrowing his brow. This is the ascension platform from the Thunder Immortal realm, the core of the entire Thunder Immortal realm. It is said to be the closest place to the ancient immortal domain before it vanished. It is rumored that when the ancient immortal domain existed, ancient immortals would step down to this place as their first step. Bringing me here, what is the true purpose of someone with the power of an immortal lord? Wang Lin's body stiffened, and he inwardly groaned. If it weren't for the mysterious elder, he would have already escaped. But now, with his blood avatar almost exhausted, there was no more chance to flee. In the face of imminent danger, Wang Lin gritted his teeth. He knew there was no avoiding this, so he simply turned around and spat out the fragment seal, placing it in front of him. As the red light ball approached, it collided directly with the seal, and a loud rumbling sound echoed as the fragment seal shook violently. However, it did not shatter. Instead, a tremendous force poured out of the seal, striking Wang Lin directly. His face went pale, and he coughed up blood, stumbling backward with the seal. But the crisis was far from over. The immense force from the fragment seal came crashing down like a wave, and Wang Lin spewed more blood as he continued to retreat. Yet a vicious grin spread across his face. Trying to kill me? Not so easy. Wang Lin braced the fragment seal with one hand and slapped his storage pouch with the other. Immediately, a screen appeared before him. As the screen appeared, the rivers and mountains painting on it spread out, filling the surroundings, turning the world into a black and white landscape, like a painting of mountains and rivers. A vast power emanated from this landscape, and Wang Lin felt his energy dissipating as the force from the painting merged with the fragment seal, counteracting its terrifying power. Rivers and mountains painting. The sinister young man's eyes narrowed. But after a moment, he sneered and said, "It's just a counterfeit copy." He raised his right hand and tore forward with great force. With a sharp tearing sound, the mountains and rivers in the air immediately twisted. Moments later, Wang Lin was forced out of the painting. His face was pale as he staggered backward. "Back then, I borrowed this rivers and mountains painting to study it for 1,000 years. Even if you have the real one, with your mere celestial being level, a chi refiner of such lowly rank, I can still destroy it." The sinister young man sneered, stepping forward, about to give chase. But suddenly, he stopped in his tracks, his eyes flashing with cold light as he looked down at the ground beneath him. He saw that the fragment continent was shaking violently, not just in one area, but the entire land. The tremors were intense, and in an instant, countless mountains on the continent collapsed with a deafening roar, as if a giant hand had swept across, flattening everything that protruded. In the blink of an eye, the continent rose into the air. Its speed was so fast that within moments, it was almost upon the sinister young man, who immediately took to the air in response. As for Wang Lin, he retracted his magical artifact and swiftly took flight, his expression calm. He didn't look down at the shaking earth but instead continued to retreat as he flew, trying to merge with the surrounding heavens and earth. Suddenly, the distant roars of thunder beasts echoed from all around. As the fragment continent ascended, the iron chains at its edges shook violently. Each chain held a thunder beast that roared and leapt into the air. The continent was being lifted by the combined force of these thunder beasts. At this moment, the entire Thunder Immortal realm, nearly 40% of it, or 49 fragment continents, was shaking and rising simultaneously. This was a grand formation, with the fragment continent where Wang Lin and the sinister young man stood at its center, forming a magnificent array in the shape of a plum blossom. Every fragment continent was connected by iron chains, each with a thunder beast roaring, pulling, and lifting into the air. The whole Thunder Immortal realm now reverberated with the sounds of the fragment continents being pulled, not just vibrating but rotating. The 48 other fragment continents surrounding the center began to turn slowly at first, but their speed gradually increased. The chains connecting the edge continents had already snapped. Now nothing could stop the rotation. Gradually, the speed became comparable to that of a cultivator flying, and as the rotation continued, a massive vortex appeared, too large to imagine. On each of the 49 fragment continents, all the mountains collapsed and crumbled. The violent shaking caused a chain reaction throughout the Thunder Immortal realm. Especially the massive vortex formed by the rotation of the 49 continents, which seemed to create a bottomless abyss, generating unimaginable suction. Under this immense pull, under the trembling of the Thunder Immortal realm, the entire Immortal realm began to collapse in earnest. This wasn't just the collapse of one fragment continent or a small void. It was the collapse of the entire Thunder Immortal realm. Since the first great fracture of the Immortal realm into countless fragments, this was the second time such a massive collapse had occurred. In the sky, terrifying rifts appeared, splitting open with freezing winds that seemed to tear through the air, widening like cracks in the fabric of the world, heralding the end. The cultivators of the Thunder Immortal realm were paralyzed with horror, unable to find words to express their shock. Even the sinister young man was completely stunned. He never imagined that the one who lured him here would unleash such a grand scheme, using the fragments of the Thunder Immortal realm's collapse as a formation. It doesn't look like just a formation. Could this person be trying to refine the Thunder Immortal realm into a magical artifact? The sinister young man gasped. With his knowledge, he had to admit, a madman. Wang Lin was even more dumbfounded. All he could hear were the howling of the rifts in the void and the distant rumbling reverberating through the entire Thunder Immortal realm, as if countless fragment continents were crashing into each other. His retreat slowed, and cracks appeared around him, each filled with a destructive aura that made his heart race and his scalp tingle. A loud, arrogant laugh echoed through the heavens and earth. At the same time, a mysterious figure materialized in the sky, eyes gleaming with excitement. He spoke. "I've entered the immortal realm hundreds of times, scheming for tens of thousands of years. Which cultivator in this world has the courage of me, yen lazy, to refine the Thunder Immortal realm and outsmart the once mighty Immortal Monarch Qi Shui. Haha, who dares? I will use half of the Thunder Immortal realm as a magical artifact. In the Luotian star domain, who can challenge me? With this, I'll open the spatial barrier. From now on, my Luotian cultivators will no longer need Luotian stones to freely enter the Alliance star domain. Zhang Xuanzi, I told you back then that one day, I would return with 1,000,000 Luotian cultivators and flatten the Alliance.